Good morning, my neighbors!
Stirring the coffee with chopsticks using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee. At the molecular level, good morning, welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, Bustelo Bulletproof coffee with a tablespoon of ghee in it, half teaspoon of high-fat cocoa, half teaspoon of cinnamon, and a touch of honey, and some heavy cream. Perfect. Man, if I could make this for you, I would. We could sit here at the kitchen table talking about life, drinking my personal recipe for bulletproof coffee, where the weight just flies right off. Those abs are going to be popping at the end of 3 months. I haven't seen my abs since maybe last summer, and I miss them. Let's get started here. Oh, first of all, for you guys out there, the Book of Pook. I read the first chapter already. It's a good book. It's a very, very thick book. This thing's like a Bible. It's kind of like the book about relationships and women for men. It's $20. Get it or live in darkness. It's a great book for your library. I have heard about it for years. I finally broke down and got it. And you know what? I'm learning from it. So I'll put a link for this down below. Excellent book. $20. This one here is the Man's World Annual. It's the four issues of Man's World magazine from 2021 put into a bound edition for an annual, a yearbook. So it's last year's 4 issues in one book. You will love it. It's $49. It's from Antelope Hill Publishing. Just get the book. I have nothing else to tell you except just get the book. It is, this is not an affiliate. I'm not making any money on it. This is it was written by Raw Egg Nationalist, who we all love. I love his writing style, but you'll be laughing, you'll be educated, and you will be inspired. I have this feeling that if you were a person that was inspired by Jordan Peterson in any form or fashion, this is 100 times more inspiring for men than Dr. Peterson. And that's not to put him down in any way. I don't want to get on a trend of putting anyone down. It's so easy to do that. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. But I don't want to do that. And I don't want you to listen to anybody who puts anyone down. Not interested in that. So your life will be better if you listen to people who don't put people down. Okay? Don't listen to people who put people down. I get a lot of emails that I've opted into. These are not emails that just all of a sudden appear in my inbox. These are things that I've opted into. I've given permission for them to show up in my mailbox. I never miss and always read 3 of them. Now, I read everything, but I never, ever miss these, and these are priority. Number 1, the Ben Settle email. Number 2, Alexander Cortez email. And number 3, Gab from Gab.com. Today's Gab. If you're not on Gab, and I've had some problems with Gab. Not with the owner and administrator, but with some of the people that are attracted to it. So you have to just kind of work your way through some of the trolls. Don't think that you're going to go to a new American conservative platform and be troll free. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. And that's one of the problems that I've had. But when you learn how to deal with that garbage, this is what I will tell you. Gab's newsletter that comes to your inbox gets better and better with every issue. Make it a priority to read it when it shows up. Those of you that have already read the Gab newsletter, you already know how powerful this is. It's good. It's good. The guy who sends out newsletters, the Unstuck Newsletter, reads newsletters. The guy who is a consultant and a coach to many also has a coach and a consultant. Actually, I got two of them. Performance coaches. Some people say, you don't need a coach. You just need to have discipline. Really? Every single sports star that you know has a coach. Everybody has a coach. I'm not talking about like get up, put your feet on the floor, get dressed, brush your teeth. Not that kind of coach. Okay? There's too much of that stuff going on too. The simple stuff. I'm talking about traction coaches. Coaches that help you squeeze one more drop out of your day, your 24-hour day. Coaches that help you focus. Coaches that ask you questions that could be offensive to you, make you think, and make you grow. If you even saw how my coach is with me, you would say to me, why haven't you punched him in the face yet? Because he gets kind of tough with me. He gets kind of tough. But I know he has my welfare at heart. And it's working. It's working. I already live a pretty disciplined life. I already live a good life. I already have a good income. I want to have a great income and a great life. I already have a good life, good income. Life is good for me. I like it. I want to go another step further and further and further. And I'm the kind of guy that wants to leave castles to my kids if I can. And help my mom and dad exit this world with grace, if that's even possible. So here's to a good Wednesday. Having a good day today isn't just for the lucky, fortunate, or leaving it up to fate. It's a consequence of thought patterns, action patterns, studying them, rinse, wash, and repeat. What do all of your, this is a coaching question for you, what do all of your shitty days have in common? What do all your good days have in common? Nobody can ruin your day unless you let them, including you and your self-sabotaging behavior or tendencies that you might have. Taking full responsibility for everything, extreme, painfully extreme responsibility for your life. There are times where I have crouched, literally sat on my bed, crouched, with my head in my hands, thinking, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? Knowing that nobody is going to come and rescue me from my behavior, from myself, from my bank account, from my work. No one's rescuing anybody. It ain't going to happen, folks. It ain't going to happen. You have to rescue yourself. Your prayers should not be, God, get me out of this. Your prayers are this, God, make me strong enough to bear this. That's what your prayer should be like. If you have a crappy day today, it's your fault. If you have a great day today, guess what? It's your fault too. Conclusion, you have the power, you have what it takes to make it a great day today. Not tomorrow, today. I remember when I was dating, if a woman checked her phone on the date, one thing was for sure, there wasn't going to be a second date. Some smart-ass chick says to me, well, if I was checking my phone, that means there wouldn't be a second date, or I wasn't really interested. I'm like, honey, leave the damn phone in your car. You're not that important. If she checks her phone on a date, dude, she's gone. This is what you do. You go to the register, You tell her you're going to the bathroom. You go to the register, you pay for the coffee, the small meal that you just had. Leave a tip, and you go. And let her wonder. I have no problem with ghosting a chick that can't stop looking at her phone. And I want you to have the balls enough to do that, gentlemen. No phones. Phones are not acceptable on dates. You're getting to know each other in an undistracted environment. One of the ways that you can prevent that from happening is making sure that you let her know you're maintaining your frame, you are controlling the relationship, not because you're a control freak, because you want harmony on a date. Hey, let's leave our phones in our cars. Let's put our phones face down. Let's not check our phones for an hour, like that kind of thing. You take the initiative. You don't have to be stern about it. You can kind of make it fun and make a joke about it. Hey, they can wait. Everyone can wait. It's not that important. Let's get to know each other. If she doesn't have that kind of sense of humor, dude, you don't want to spend more than 20 minutes with her, if at all. So there's some good things. The farmer. Let's talk about the farmer. You've heard me talking about farmers in the past. The farmer plows and plants every spring, believing that there will be a crop. The farmer looks at an empty field and he sees crops before they appear. He puts the plow to the ground in faith, hoping that when he plants those seeds, that they're going to sprout. A crop will come up. Fruit or vegetables will be there eventually. The ultimate man of faith is the farmer. The ultimate man of faith is the farmer. What lessons can you learn from a farmer? Seeing things before they happen. You have to do stuff. You can't get guarantees. The farmer never gets a guarantee that his crop is going to make it. You reduce the risk by proper preparation of the soil. That's how farmers do it. They reduce the risk. Success in your life is about reducing the risk, still having faith that there's going to be fruit that the tree bears, that the field brings forth. You're not just rolling the dice when it comes to your life. It has to be deliberate and a little bit of faith. I don't know you, but I do know that you can reach your goals or make a pivot and change your life. I know that for a fact. I've never met a man on a trajectory that cannot be changed. I don't care if it's drugs. I don't care if it's a bad marriage, a bad relationship. It can be changed. In an upcoming book called How to Leave Her, I teach men how to get out of a relationship. Many times it's more than just, honey, this is over. I don't think this is working. Some of you can do that. 99% of you cannot. I will teach you how to leave her and maintain your mental health. And maybe even stay on good terms with her if it's possible. Stay tuned for that one. How to leave her. My grandfather was like that. My dad is like that. Now I'm like that. Is that good or bad? I guess it depends. My grandfather got up early. My dad gets up early. I get up early. That's a good thing. My grandfather had a temper. My dad had a temper. Now I got a temper. My grandfather punched walls, slammed doors. My dad had a temper, punched walls and slammed doors. Now I slam doors and punch walls. It's amazing how that works, doesn't it? It's not like they sat you down and said, next time you get angry, I want you to punch a wall and slam doors. You know why? Because you picked it up. You just picked up that behavior. It's almost genetic now. It's almost part of you, just like the color of your eyes is. You think I can no more change the color of my eyes than I can change my behavior. Your behavior is not genetic. Most of your behavior is learned. I will tell you this, I'll never forget my wife telling me, ex-wife telling me, that when they're watching TV, it's funny how your kids pick up your stuff when you're not with them. She would say to me, Adam rubs his eyes like you. There's times like when I'm watching TV, I just sit back and I'm just kind of doing this, just like rubbing my eyes like that. So I'll never forget when he was just a toddler and the family was watching some fun thing. He'd sit there and like rub his eyes, just do this, like that. And she would look at him and go, oh my God, he picked that up from Daddy. It's not like I sat him down and said, every time you watch television, I want you to rub your eyes. He picked it up. Is that good or bad? It depends. One thing I know, the behavior that you have that you do automatically, it's not a curse. Some people would call that an intergenerational or transgenerational curse. It's learned behavior that can be unlearned. What do you do that your father did, that your mother did, that your grandfather did, that your grandmother did, that your people do, that can be unlearned? What's one negative trait that you do right now that your father and grandfather did? It can be changed. It doesn't seem like it. It seems genetic. It seems like you can't stop it. But it can be changed. I'm talking about the negative traits. My grandfather was mechanical. My dad is mechanical. Never took a car to a shop, ever. If something went wrong with a vehicle, they worked on it. The hood went up, they were underneath the vehicle. I do that. Rarely do I take my vehicle to a shop. I learned how to do that. My grandfather had a workshop, kind of a getaway. I don't want to say a man cave. If you didn't see him in the house, you can bet he was out in the garage in the workshop. Same thing with my father. Where is he? No, he's probably out in the garage. Then you're probably the same way. If you grew up with an academic grandfather or a father, you're probably in your study at your desk. There's things you do, good and bad, that you've inherited. Most of them are learned. Keep that in mind. Here's a question for you. If you needed $20,000, like if you didn't have money and you needed $20,000, or you were going to get killed, or there was a ransom, like a loved one was going to be killed by Friday, if you didn't deliver $20,000, if you couldn't generate $20,000, what would you do? I say if the stakes are high enough, you would find a way to do it. So here's the question. How do you raise the stakes in your life to bring in more cash? Legally, how do you do that? What mechanism do you have in place that you can start, a turnkey mechanism that you can do to raise cash, to exchange a product or information or a service for cash? And do you have many of them? Multiple streams of income. Those of you that have one stream of income, I don't want to say I feel sorry for you, but I will tell you, you need a second stream of income. And when you get that established, you need a third. Always be creating streams of income. I don't care if it's $100 a month. I don't care if it's enough just to pay for your cell phone. You need another stream of income. Don't make me say I told you so. If you're waiting for the ideal time to start, you will never start. I'm working with several business clients right now, and I'm helping them start their businesses, which is very tough in the beginning. If you've started a business, you know how hard it is in the very beginning. Many times you're waiting for the ideal time to start. I'll wait till spring. I'll wait till I graduate. I'll wait till I finish this project, or wait till after I move. I'll wait till after I check with my wife. Excuse me. If you're waiting for an ideal time to start, guess what? You're never going to start. It will be an ache that you carry with you, a free-floating grief and ache that you never acted on. Your phone is at 10%. What do? I need to charge it. Where's my charger? Plug that bad boy in. Your dreams and goals are at 10%. Whatever happened to my dreams? In the same way that you treat your phone, you need to treat yourself. When your phone is low on power, you know to plug it in, because its operational capabilities are going to be disappearing pretty quickly when it reaches 10%. When you need power, you need to plug yourself in. Does that mean you need to get away for a weekend, a day? Does that mean you need to eat something properly? Lay off the carbs a little bit. Lay off the sugar. Get some sleep. How do you recharge yourself? What are your top 3 ways of recharging yourself? When I recharge my phone, I plug it in. When I need to recharge myself, one of the things I do is I drink a big glass of water, I take a nap, and I eat well. And I exercise. I walk. I always feel better after walking. Those are the things I do. What about your goals and dreams? What is the minimum activity you need to do what is the minimum thing you need to do to revive your dreams, your goals? If you don't act on your goals, you're going to be living with regret. And that's the last thing you want to do. 90% of the people you see walking on the street are living with regret. Ask them, what do you regret? Ayn Rand, born Alyssa Rosenbaum, she was a writer, not a philosopher. She developed some of her views in response to questions from her readers, but never took the time to defend them against possible objections or reconcile them with the views expressed in her novels. Her philosophical essays lack the self-critical, detailed style of analytic philosophy or any serious attempt to consider possible objections to her views. I read everything by Ayn Rand. Everything. I started doing that in 1974. I've read Ayn Rand since 1974. I know what I'm talking about. Her polemical style, often contemptuous tone, and the dogmatism and cult-like behavior of many of her fans also suggest that her work is not worth taking seriously. That's a quote from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Furthermore, I personally add, this cultic pig cheated on her husband, supported abortion. She said facial hair on men is a defect, that men who have facial hair are hiding something, and people who operated around the NBI, the Nathaniel Branden Institute, were encouraged to not have facial hair of any type. She was highly suspicious of any humor or anything funny. And the Ayn Rand cult typically dampened humor. You weren't supposed to laugh unless it was crass, sneering, or making fun of somebody. Do you know organizations or people like that, where a big portion of what they do is breaking balls? It's part of a cult. Do I like Ayn Rand's writings? Yes, purely from a fiction point of view. I am not into the religion that she has. These followers who replace Christianity with objectivism. Ayn Rand is a failure when it comes to philosophy and leading. She will lead you down a dark path, and you know what's going to happen? You're going down a dark hallway, and then all of a sudden, boom, you walk into a wall, and there's nowhere else to go. When you follow her long enough, her little rabbit trails, you'll walk into a dark wall, nowhere else to go. Stick with her as an author, not as a philosopher. Enjoy her writings, apply whatever you want. But be careful. To me, she's no different than L. Ron Hubbard, who was a science fiction writer who ended up writing Dianetics. Holy cow. Careful who you read. Careful who you follow. That goes for everybody. For some reason, I was thinking about Chuck Colson, who was the henchman for President Nixon back in the mid to late 60s, who went to federal penitentiary and turned to Christ. And during that time, he said he was going to reach other men for Christ. When he left, he kept one of his promises to a fellow inmate, started one of the biggest prison ministries, actually the biggest prison ministry in the world, called Prison Fellowship, which has helped more men behind bars, which I have a special affinity to. I think everybody would benefit. Not everyone's called to do prison ministry, but everybody would benefit from being involved in prison ministry somehow, some way. I know what that's like. I know what that's like. So, ministering to people in prison is important. It's something that Christ talked about. He said, when I was in prison, you visited me. And the disciples said, when did we ever see you in prison? He says, what you've done to the least of these, you've done unto me. So it's important that you somehow contribute, or better yet, be involved personally in a prison ministry. Even if that means once a week going to a prison and reading a fictional book, reading stories to inmates, inspiring them to be more literate, to think outside their head, and think about, recidivism rate is about 85%, which means that people who are in prison, 85% end up going back to prison. I believe that prisons need to be rehabilitative and punitive. You're there for a punishment, but while you're being punished, why not learn something? If that means learning how not to go back to prison, then so be it. And somebody like you who says, well, what could I possibly teach them? Do you know how to talk? What can you do? Do you know how to read? Do you know how to walk properly? That you can teach to an inmate. Me at 7 years old, Grandpa, why don't I speak Italian? My grandfather says to me, English, his exact words, English is the language of success. You will speak English. After all of men in my family and holidays, after they were done eating dinner, everybody would go out back and have a cigar, have a smoke, and be talking Italian to one another. And that's when I asked that question. I remember exactly where I was. And he said to me, English is the language of success. You will speak English. And, hard deadlines and accountability, two of the most useful tools in your business toolbox. I can't say that enough. Hard deadlines and accountability will change your life. And a new coach won't help you if you never implemented what your old coach said. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.